Well, welcome to tonight's show. You're with Tom, Brian and Steve, and this is NRL from the Sidelines. And as we do every time this week, we are going to talk about the round of NRL that's just been on. Gentlemen, how are we tonight?
Oh, we are happy.
Good.
I see you're wearing some funny colours again.
No beanie though, because that really irritated you last time apparently. I've got a cold head.
I'm sorry, I don't like beanies. I really don't like beanies. How are you? Sorry?
Played no one.
You played no one.
You can only beat the team in front of you.
Yes, that's right.
Hang on, when I use that excuse, I get bombarded.
Because for you it is an excuse.
And by the way, you have upset Barry.
Why?
Barry is your number one supporter, and you have upset him.
How did I upset Barry?
He's almost in tears.
Wait until he talks tonight.
Yeah, I know. But he was almost in tears over that meme you posted on our site about the cardboard cutouts walking out of the game early. Which, by the way, I thought was fabulous.
I thought that was funny.
Even Barry thought that was funny.
No,
surely.
No, he didn't. No. Barry's very upset. He won't talk to you again.
I've got other Dragon supporters who thought it was hilarious. Sorry, Barry.
Barry will never talk to you again. Tom, how are you?
Yeah, good.
Yeah, foot doing well?
It's getting there.
Okay, all right. He's getting there.
Broken foot.
Broken.
No, but we didn't mention it before.
Tom has a broken foot. He tried kicking me last week and it didn't work.
Yeah. And Steve's solid rock hard abs
That's
just
right.
deflected the foot.
Was he aiming for my abs? Was he? I thought he was aiming
It was
for
aiming
somewhere else.
for your jaw, but
And that was when I was at his place watching the game, by the way.
That's right.
Yeah.
South scored, so he kicked me. Wow.
all right. Wow is right.
What a weekend of football.
Yes.
It's so good to have it back.
Oh,
but,
yeah.
Geez, I
Great.
tell you what, there's some great games this weekend.
There was. Yeah.
Well, as is evidenced by the TV viewing, like 4.5 million, and they reckon there's I don't know what a soft view is, but I guess it's an unaccounted for view of 3 million across the rest of the world.
Well, I think it's what they can't count. It's
just
a presumed
tells you what the
figure.
hunger is like. The hunger is for
Man.
football.
Well,
It'd be interesting to see what the American statistics were
yeah.
for viewers. I'd love to see that.
But if they could really, if rugby league could start attracting 7.5 million viewers across the world,
Yeah.
oh my goodness, that is something, and it'll only grow.
Yeah. And
So
we'll rightly overtake rugby union as
Yes,
the world
hasn't it?
game.
Well, it's been a golden opportunity. I think the league has taken it by both hands. It's been
Yep.
good.
No, it's been excellent.
All right.
So we've had a number of games. We had a lot of commentary over the weekend about the way the games were played. They were fast. They were very, very... One of the things I noticed about the games on the weekend is that other than one game, the scores weren't close. One team really dominated another.
Yep.
There was one game where there was a draw, and we'll get to that later. But So I want to ask, the new rules, we talked about it last week about the 6 again and the 1 ref.
Yep.
Tom, success or not a success?
I want to reserve my judgment. I think my first impression is I think it was a
It was
great
great
success.
asking you that question.
I
Wasn't it?
thought it was a great success, my first impression. But, as I often do, I sometimes, make a big call first off, and I just want to reserve that because I think we need to see what happens when the teams start to work this all out. And, and people are talking about the coaches working out a way around things and how to speed up, how to slow things down again. But I think inherent in the ruling, in what's going on, it's going to speed the game up. It's been good for the game. I think there was a lot of fatigue factor, and I think that brings the little men in. It brings the men sort of roving around the ruck. I think that was really good. It was good to see. Why there was unbalanced scores is hard to know. It just seems to be that one team seemed to manage that better than another. I think that was evident on Thursday night with the first game, that it just seemed like the Broncos were like, what's going on here? And before they knew it, they had a score on them.
Yeah.
But look, I think it looks like a really good thing. Well, let's just wait and see over the next few weeks.
Brian, what did you think of it? Did you?
No, I liked it. The international game has 1 ref. I think the English game only has 1 ref too, doesn't it? It's not like it's not like it's new. I like the 1 ref idea. I like one person controlling the game. I thought that I like the 6 again idea. I only have one concern, and that is that I couldn't tell. Like when there's a penalty blown, the game stops. And wrongly or rightly, there's a replay of it, and you can see hands on the ball, somebody stripping, slowing down, lying on the player. This is a buzzer going off in the grandstand somewhere.
Yes.
And I'm going, but what happened? And straight away, you're into the game again.
But that's the trade-off to wanting a faster game.
Yeah.
Instead of the constant stops that penalty.
And don't get me wrong, I agree. I just think I think that it's harder for a team then to stop a roll when it gets going. Yep. So I had a look at I couldn't find any stats on how many 6-agains there were, apart from the fact that the Manly Bulldogs game, the commentators were saying that there were more than any other game. There were like 13 or 14 of them. It was ridiculous. But the possession stats showed every team that won had a massive possession. So that's, and so I'm liking it, but I'm not quite sure of how that's going to impact overall. And we already have, not that there's a perceived referee bias, but we're upset when the refs get it wrong. We've got no opportunity to examine what's happened until we look at a stat of 70% possession, and then we go, oh, how did that happen? So I'm liking it, but I think there's maybe a couple of kinks that need to be ironed out. That's all.
Well, you wouldn't want to see that kind of unbalanced score every week. I mean, from teams that you wouldn't have expected there to be such a discrepancy,
Yeah. So anyway, that was my thoughts on the one ref and 6-again.
So on the 6-again, there was, I think we noticed that probably in the first game was the Parramatta game. There was they got it 2 or 3 times in a row and kept hammering Brisbane's line. And honestly, within 10-15 minutes, Brisbane looked exhausted.
Yep. But that's the same as the Cowboys-Titans game.
Yes.
So the Titans turned over on the third tackle, and the Cowboys had the ball for the next 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, is there any wonder that in the back end of the game the Titans faded?
Yeah.
But it also happened in Penrith-Newcastle game, and Penrith got out to a lead, and then Newcastle managed to hang in. So I guess it's not always going to happen.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, I think there was other stuff going on there that I wanted to talk about.
Yeah. All right. We'll get to that game.
Look, I didn't mind it.
Yep. And one thing I think it led to, and this is something that I think is going to take the captains in the referee's ear out, is that they call 6-again and the game keeps going. The captain doesn't trot over to the ref, and for me, watching the games, it seemed like there was a lot more respect for what the referee was doing, because he was making a call and the players were just getting on with the game. They weren't going to the ref, arguing the point, flip of the coin, other captain comes in, finger point, argue, ref goes, well, get back, talk to your teams. It was 6-again, bang, and they're off.
And that's the advantage of it.
The other thing that I liked, and I'm pretty sure it's new, and I imagine it's for the international viewers as much as anybody, is that on the bar, at least on Fox at least, on the bar where they have the score, when there was a restart, it said set restart in bright red.
Yep.
The other thing was when there was a penalty, it actually explained what the penalty was for, which I thought was really good.
I did like
that.
I
really enjoyed that.
That was for the international audience, right?
I can't remember if Channel 9 did that. I watched Fox and 9 throughout.
I think Fox did it much better. What did you think of the Fox crowd?
I loved it.
I did. Yeah, me too. I really did.
I thought at the beginning of the first game, I thought, oh, that's a bit, it's. But I think by the time the third or fourth game came around,
I think used to it.
But I think they did a better job. Yeah. Because the game ebbs and flows. And I found in the Broncos Parramatta game it was hey all the whole time, and then there was ebbs and flows in the rest of the games. And so I actually thought it was really well done.
They showed they had like an iPad and it had a little dial there, and you had sort of loud, soft, and other ambiences, and they'd sort of drag to the the centre, or more to this or more to that, so they could get a blend of sounds. And when I remember there was one point where there was a bad call made for the Broncos, I think, and there was boos. They pushed the button, there was boos. It was terrific. And so that's just going to get better. And also I heard that there are overseas games that are wanting to adopt this technology.
The NFL and the what's the soccer one in England?
EPL.
EPL, that's it, are both looking at it because they were really impressed with the way that it worked. So
innovation.
I loved it.
Good.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you wanted to talk about pretenders versus contenders.
Yes. Oh, that was a very definite yes, wasn't it?
It was a very definite yes, and I'm concerned. But
No, because I think there are 3 teams that are going to struggle to win any games this year unless they're playing each other.
Roosters, Manly, who's the other one?
Please.
Sorry.
I don't know what that makes it sound, but anyway. Yeah, there were 3 teams that were I thought really below average.
Yeah.
And that was unfortunately because I'm not a big Dragons fan, but I do like the Dragons. But they had no concept. They had no idea. The Bulldogs had majority possession against the Seagulls and still couldn't win because they couldn't score points.
Yeah.
And I think the Titans are on a hide under nothing.
Yeah.
And so I don't know what those teams have to do. Each of the coaches were similar in their appraisal of their team, saying, well, that's not how we train. We need to be smarter. But, wow.
So let's have a look at that just a little bit further. We all expected the Bulldogs to lose. I don't think any of us picked the Bulldogs. And honestly, against Manly, none of us really thought they had a shot.
No.
We all thought St George would probably put a better performance in against the Warriors. Whether you picked them or not, I don't think anyone thought they'd go 18-0.
No.
And yeah, the Titans, I think we realise they're still growing as well. But yeah, I honestly, I agree with you. I think I don't even think they're pretenders. I just don't think they're in it at all.
No, it was really quite disappointing.
Yeah.
I was going to say, like, in general, just as I have a look at the games, the Rabbitohs and the Storm probably would have beaten a lot of the other clubs. Like on their day, they just had off.
They did enough to beat most other teams except for the opposition they were playing at the time.
Yeah.
The Roosters were better.
Yeah.
So
you know what? And I didn't think the Broncos were that bad at points either.
Yeah.
So anyway, but
all right,
game.
so let's get on to them. Let's get on to them. So Thursday night we had the Eels against the Broncos, where Parra won 34-6.
Yep.
Stunned silence, Tom.
I mean, I think in the first the first Broncos score was 17 minutes, and I thought, 17 minutes have gone by. It was I think it was pretty even then. The score was quite even, and I thought, the Broncos have hit back. But then from then on, it was just a procession for the Eels. Were the Eels that good? I'd like to see them up against the Raiders and Roosters and a proper Melbourne team.
I was going to say Manly then.
and Manly. I don't know. I'm a bit baffled by the Broncos. I really am. I don't know what to make of them.
They were missing quite a few players. Well, not quite a few. They were missing 2 or 3.
Big players.
In saying that, they still look leaderless. So Brady Croft was good in places, but they still look like they lack direction.
Yep.
You look at their team, and every single one of those players is a game breaker. But they've got no one saying, your opportunity now.
Yeah.
And I think that's weighing them down.
Yeah.
So
commentary too was that the Broncos hadn't anticipated the effect of the 6 again situation.
Yeah, maybe. I can't imagine Anthony Seibold would be that underprepared.
No, I just don't think he had players who responded to it. I don't think it's a question
that's
of him.
probably what I was saying.
Yeah.
Alex Glenn going down injured early on probably did not help their cause.
No.
Somebody else, didn't they?
Can't recall. But I know the Glenn injury was, the poor bloke.
It's nasty.
Club captain, he's captain for 1 game in 10 minutes or something.
I know. So Parramatta, contenders, you believe, based on that performance?
I think they're in the conversation for sure. Absolutely. Yeah.
Brian, say it.
No, I want to see what happens next week.
You're going to sit on the fence.
I am.
I will play them next week.
Yep. I will say this. Mate, Dylan Brown looked good.
So did Gutherson from fullback.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like Gutho. Yeah, he's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you wouldn't swap him for your fullback, would you?
Obviously not.
No, neither would I. Steve would.
But I'd find a place for Gutho. He's just a utility player.
Hey, if he wants to come back, we'll take him.
Yes. Yeah, look, I think across the park they've got some quality. whereas they hadn't had that before. I think I thought Junior Paulo had a monster game.
Yeah.
You know, and the beauty of him is he's big, he hits the line, he post contact, and then he finds an offload.
Yeah.
You know, and he ball played, I think, for one of the tries. You know, so look, I think across the park they've got some strength. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, Friday night, Cowboys and Titans. Cowboys winning 36-6.
Yeah, I wrote down some general notes on each of these games, and for some reason I wrote Titans lacking enthusiasm more than once.
Because it probably happened more than once.
You know, the first 20 minutes they were in this game. You know, I thought the defence was
the first
really,
20 minutes
really
they were
stout,
competing.
really
not,
stout
yeah.
for 20 minutes. I thought, oh, good on them. You know, they're staying in the contest. But then something happened, and maybe it was these new rules or something.
Well, they were in it really till half time. At half time, it was 2 tries to 1.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of that possession that the Cowboys had just turned against them.
Reece Robson came on,
Yep.
and he made an enormous difference to them.
And he's the only one.
Yeah.
I read through the week that there's about 10 Titans players who are coming off contract, and they've told them all that unless you perform, there will be no renewal. Is there anyone in that team that your teams would pick?
Titans team.
Titans team.
Is there any one player that you'd
you've
say...
taken Arrow, so you've got Arrow.
Yeah, okay. Well, we've got an Arrow, but is there
give me a
anyone else
second.
there that you'd think...
Well, I was always a fan of Brian Kelly.
Yeah, and we had Dale Copley for a while, and I didn't want to lose him. Just we had better players.
But my question is, would you take him back? Given
There wouldn't be anywhere for him now.
AJ Brimston, who wasn't playing. I'd probably like him somewhere in my team, in my squad somewhere.
Yep. Oh, look, some of those new forwards. What's the name? I've gone blank now. Young fellow,
Aaron
Islander
Clark.
guy.
Clark.
No. He was an Islander kid.
Yeah.
Number 8. He was number 8.
Mohiki.
Fotowaka. He's Fotowaka. He's built in the mould of a Tomalolo.
Yes.
And he busts tackles. He's got good footwork. Got an offload on him. He's going to be a quality player.
Okay. All right, so let's move on to the other game on Friday night with the Roosters played the Rabbitohs and the Roosters won 28-12. I'm waiting for it. Come on, bring it on.
No, go.
Bring it on.
I thought it was a polished performance by the Roosters. I think they were in control the whole game. I don't think there was.
I'm just checking
you
the
need to
time.
leave, do you?
I don't think there was a part in the game where they weren't in control of that game. And
I disagree.
I'm inclined
of course
to
you
agree.
would.
I think the last 20 minutes of the first half, South were in control, but half-time killed us.
I don't think they were ever in danger of losing that game.
I'm not saying they were in danger. I'm saying South were in control.
Yeah.
Look, the one thing that the Roosters played that game almost to perfection. South didn't. South, to me, were in and out of the game. We made some silly errors. You had Morris, who was absolutely on fire, who tackled everything he could find.
More than once.
Yeah.
The Roosters turned up to play that better.
Well,
Reynolds disappeared.
The Roosters took their opportunities. So if something was going on, the Roosters were on it.
Yes.
And so what I say, Roosters took their opportunities. Boyd Cordner is a glue in that team.
Absolutely.
His leadership is outstanding. And I don't think. Yeah, look, the ongoing questions about Latrell are amusing.
I actually thought he had he had a bad start.
He had a much better game.
A bad start, but I actually thought for somebody who's been bagged from pillar to post and is starting in a relatively new position, he showed what he's capable of. And, by the end of the season, I think he'll be a much, much better fullback.
See, but he's not, and I hate to say it, he's not looking fit. And you've got another bloke who's played a lot of hear me out, another bloke who's played a lot of fullback in your team.
Yep.
I don't understand why Latrell doesn't take a breather, be it in a fast-paced game of rugby league, but a breather in the centres while, what's his name? Johnson goes back to fullback.
But they did do that. They did swap it around at times. The challenge is that if Mitchell is going to learn fullback, he's got to play fullback. There's no point in putting him in the centres and saying, we're going to move you into fullback. He's got to do it.
No, I
Greg
agree.
Inglis was the same.
And they're going to have to wear the fact that they're going to
when
lose.
when South put Greg Inglis in as fullback, he went missing at times in defence. He didn't learn the positional play. Latrell Mitchell will get it.
We'll see.
You've just got to
He
play.
actually, there was a couple of nice plays in defence that he put on, and there was a couple of where he went missing.
Yeah.
I mean, that one where I couldn't believe that Keary, got a break and he was running towards Latrell, and he had two opportunities to pass to
whoever.
Wherever it was.
Yeah, Teddy was on his inside.
To Brett Morris. Yeah. Oh, yeah, and actually Teddy was on his
inside. I knew that.
but look, credit to Latrell. I think that was a really good move, and he saved a try there. Yeah. And he saved a try on the line when Teddy tried to barge over as well.
Yeah.
And I don't think anyone was going to stop Teddy on the try that he did score over the top, because it was 1-on-1 anyway. It was never going to stop him.
And
he went missing at the last try when Jake Friend put that kick.
That was embarrassing.
I get it.
Yeah.
But I mean, the game was over at that point anyway. But I get it. But he's got to learn it. He's not going to learn it unless he plays it.
Well, my concern was that all the Rabbitohs players that were interviewed and the coach said, well, there's things we can build on with that. And I wondered where that was.
I agree.
You do?
Yeah,
There's a lot in that game.
I'll defend South on that one. I actually think that there were some good passages of play, and they've got some good things to work with.
I don't know what happened to Cook. Cook disappeared.
Cook disappeared and Reynolds disappeared. Take those two out, and
Reynolds had a really
no Cody Walker.
And no James Roberts
means you just didn't have that direction.
Yeah.
And so while the Roosters took their opportunities, Souths just didn't.
Yeah. No, we didn't.
And I'll say it again now, Cameron Murray as an edge forward does not work.
Okay, let's move on.
Right.
On Saturday afternoon, we had the Warriors against the Dragons, where the Warriors were comfortable winners, 18-0.
Yeah. And nobody could have predicted that scoreline.
The Warriors weren't good.
No, and that's, I'm sorry, Barry, but that's the other thing. The Warriors weren't that good. This was probably the one game of the weekend that wasn't fast.
It wasn't.
It wasn't the quality of the other ones. I don't know what it was, but this one just seemed like last year.
The Warriors weren't good, and they still won by 18 points.
I didn't get to see this game, but I heard Ben Hunt was missing.
Yes.
He had a leg injury, is that right?
Yes, he had. Yeah, he's got a boil on his
leg.
leg.
Boil. McGregor said something different afterwards. Right. Yeah. So, I don't know. It's... Yeah. Well, the Warriors... You'll appreciate this, Tom, as a Roosters fan who likes boring football. The Warriors, at one point, had 43 completed sets out of 43.
Wow.
Yeah, and it was only in the last 5
minutes. My goodness. Near perfect, which I thought was amazing.
But that, you've got to say, that's testament to the defence and what St George threw at them, because they didn't hit them hard at all.
No.
It was a training run for the Warriors.
Yep.
It really was.
The Dragons, there was no cohesion. It's funny, if you look at that Dragons team, you've got blokes like Tyson Frizzell. Mate, I would take him in a second. And I think most clubs would.
Well, Newcastle already have.
The Dragons just throw the ball to him and say, run at that bloke. Yeah. I'm just... Why?
So where do the Dragons go from here? Week 3, and we're all saying they've got no hope of making the 8.
Well, something's wrong with their retention, because if you have a look at the other clubs... young blokes that have got an opportunity have all gone on to bigger things if they've come from the Dragons. You've got Corey Norman and Ben Hunt. They are not working well. And if I was McGregor, and I'll give you a tip, Paul, I'd drop them. I don't care who they have to come in, and I don't care that those blokes are sitting on half your salary cap. They are not performing. They are not playing together. They are not directing the team. They're doing nothing. Oh, hang on a second. They let Jai Field go to Parramatta.
Yeah. So last year, was it last? When did sorry.
It was last year.
5 years. 5'8". I've forgotten his name now. Off the top of my head.
I don't know who you're talking about.
5'8" for who?
What?
St George.
Corey Norman.
Right. When did Corey Norman come over? Was this year, right? Or was it there last year?
No, it was last year.
It was last year.
This is his second year.
So if you remember back then, 2 years ago,
yep,
where he was playing at Parramatta with Moses,
yep,
they really didn't gel.
Yeah.
Did they? And when one was off and the other was there on their own, that team performed better. The same thing is happening to St George.
Yep.
So yeah, you're right. Put him in at 5'8", or put him at a halfback. Put Ben Hunt on the bench.
Yep.
They've got to do something.
Yep.
They can't continue the way they're going.
Yep.
Okay, so after that we had Sharks and Tigers at Bankwest, and Tigers running out 28-16. And honestly, at the beginning I thought the Sharks were going to run away with this. Well,
The Tigers
were going to run away. Then I thought the Sharks came back and were going to, and then
Good game. I actually enjoyed this game.
this was a very good game.
I thought fast paced, lots of switches.
It was good. First 2 tries in the 4th and the 6th minute.
Like it was. Yeah, it looked like it was going to be on.
Yeah.
And I just thought, oh no! And then the Sharks hit back, and at no time did it look like one team had it all over the other. And then all of a sudden, in the last 10 minutes, the Tigers looked like they had it.
Yeah.
But until then, wow.
Tom, what did you think of Benji Marshall?
I got to admit, I was out for the afternoon. I didn't get to see much
So you
of
didn't
any. I saw a few highlights,
So-
but I didn't see a lot of the game.
So, what did you think of Benji Marshall?
I thought he was great. You didn't?
Yeah, I did.
I was going to say.
I mean, he's turned back time.
Oh, let me see. That's another 5'8" that St George have let go.
Yeah, that's right.
You're going to hang a barrier all night, aren't you?
Well, no, I'm just. Anyway, no, they were great, and you know what? The best thing was is that and I'll give a rap to the young hooker Harry Grant.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, he was good.
But he was. See, the thing was your halves and your 5'8s are playing opposite sides of the field.
Yep.
He made the right choice every time.
Yep.
Like he went to Benji, he went to Luke Brooks, he gave them the opportunity to play. He made a few little runs from dummy half. Like I think he was probably the difference.
He's been learning from the best, hasn't he?
He was really good.
Yeah, he
and the Tigers fell off a little bit when they took him off, and he was back on very quickly.
So what happened to Cronulla halfway through? I mean, I know they lost their halfback. They put Moylan on to replace him.
Which
Moylan's still
6-1, half a dozen. I thought Moylan looked dangerous.
I mean,
In
Townsend
patches.
was playing well, but he wasn't.
He wasn't doing anything
And
great.
what's Townsend done to himself?
Was it a hemi?
Yeah, well, he was reaching for his hammies. That's
Yeah.
why they brought him off. But
Look, I just think it was Tigers' fitness. Madge is a traditionally hard trainer,
Oh, yeah.
and I think that they just got them in the end. That enthusiasm and strength and fitness just got them in the end.
yeah,
So
And the sad thing too is Josh Reynolds sitting on the sidelines still.
yeah.
why is he injured, or is it just?
No,
Just don't want to play him.
just not playing him.
And the thing is, they can't.
Well, where would you play him?
Yeah, and I heard too that because he's on like $750 or something.
No one will touch him.
Apparently, the Tigers are willing to pay $500, but the Dogs wouldn't pay the difference.
Well,
So
they
that's
should.
Yeah, and that's ridiculous.
Because they need a half.
Yeah, they're just being silly now.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly.
Well, maybe this
it-
week or the next couple of weeks, maybe they'll change their mind.
Okay, let's
All
go
right.
on to the Saturday night game where the Storm played the Raiders, and the Raiders won 22-6.
I didn't see
This was
coming.
a great game.
Well, I thought it'd be a bit closer.
So did I.
I mean, I was happy to. I think I even picked the Storm because they were at home.
I think
But-
we all picked the Storm, didn't
No, Sally didn't pick the Storm. If I
we?
remember rightly.
She doesn't pick
Yeah,
the Storm.
Sally, can you let us know earlier, please?
No, but every time she didn't pick the Storm last year, the Storm won. So
yeah.
that's why I thought, well, the Storm are going to win this because Sally didn't pick them. But yeah,
Yeah,
well done, Sally.
the Storm were better in the second half, but they just couldn't stop them.
Yeah.
No.
I think of the teams that were affected most by the 6 again rule, it's these two teams. Raiders loved it, Storm hated it, and I think that game showed the difference in play.
And I've got to say, I've questioned whether the Raiders would be a force this year, and I've got to stand up and say I was wrong.
Yep.
I think they'll be a force this year.
Interesting. They showed because I saw the highlights, and they showed Bellamy in the box.
Yep.
And normally, he's waving his arms and he's ranting and raving and he's effing this and effing that and things. And he was very subdued.
He was.
So I wonder whether he arrived at the game thinking we're not on tonight.
He knew already.
And whether maybe that was the case because he he was very circumspect. When they make mistakes, he'd go, like this, and instead of the normal sort of passion that he has, and even in the press conference, he had no answers and things. But I'm thinking, I would not want to be a Melbourne player this week, and I would not want to be the team that they're playing next week.
Yeah, thanks for that, Tom. So, we always complain about Cameron Smith and how he influences the game. Obviously, with the speed of the game, he's losing that influence.
Yep.
I didn't see the game enough.
Look, I didn't think he had a bad game. I thought the game was just quick, and like I said, he didn't have a chance to. He's just a magnificent player. Great out of dummy half, fantastic runs, guides the team, gets in the referee's head, and that's the biggest part of the game, the psychological part of the game.
And that's what he can't.
And I don't think he got the opportunity to do that.
Yeah.
True.
Okay, so let's move on to Sunday, and I thought this was an amazing game. Panthers and the Knights, 14-all draw. How wonderful is it to see a draw?
Yeah. Well,
sorry, what team didn't deserve a point out of that one?
No, the Knights deserve to win this game. Honestly. Yeah, sorry.
See, there's the question. Sorry. You say the Knights, and you don't think so.
Well, I think
they both deserve something out of it.
They didn't win, so they didn't deserve to win.
Well,
no one deserved to win, obviously.
So 5 minutes, nobody's fault. Pierce goes down.
Yep.
They put Connor Watson on his replacement. About 5 minutes after that, he goes down.
Yep.
So they put on a heap of rookies, and they've got what was the guy?
Tex Hoy.
No, the other guy. The
Bradman Best.
Hooker. No, the hooker. Not Radley. It's something like that. Anyway, he comes on, plays virtually the whole game. They had a bunch of rookies guiding this team around. They went down 14-0. Penalty try, by the 8-point try, by the way.
Which was a fair penalty
Which
try.
was a fair penalty try.
Okay.
So it's 14-0 at half time, and you're thinking, it's all over. So Panthers had umpteen opportunities to put this game away. They had a virtually full-strength side, take away Nathan Cleary, really.
Yep.
And they could not find their way to the line against a courageous, determined Knights team who put on three tries. They scored 3 tries to 2, and it seemed more and more likely that that it was going to go to golden point extra time. Bradman Best had the ball. He had pretty much clear sight. All he needed to do was to barge over the line, and he passed it and then missed it. Burton had five goes. Beautiful kicks straight off the boot. And they just veered left and right. I thought the Knights, in the balance, deserved that win just because of courage, honestly. And I was just, I tipped the Knights because I thought they'd win comfortably with Mitchell Pearce running around. Once they lost him, I thought, this is bad. But then to see the way they put in it, that 70 minutes or something, I was incredibly courageous. That'll do a lot for that team, honestly.
And not only, no Ponga, so...
Yeah. And look, the Panthers I thought were disappointing because, they had lots of opportunities and they had so much possession down the other end.
But no Keary.
And let me just tell you...
No, Cleary.
He's a big miss. He's a big out for that team.
Oh, I know.
And personally, I think what they should be doing is going with Cleary and Burton. Because I think Burton's kicking game is excellent. His kicking game is superb.
He was good.
He's pinpoint accurate kicking. Just got to work on his field goals.
But
Cleary and Burton, I think, will be a potent pair.
I really like Tex Hoy.
Yep.
And,
so do I.
I thought, wow, that guy's got ticker.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, everybody was talking Bradman Best, but everybody's been talking Bradman Best for 12 months now.
Yeah.
But this Tex Hoy, wow, man, he can play. He's got unbelievable skills. You can see why they wanted Ponga to move to 5'8", because apparently Bradman Best is a fullback, Tex Hoy's a fullback. Take your pick. If we can get Ponga into somewhere else in the team.
Ponga the Roosters will steal him, don't worry.
Ponga will be 5'8" eventually.
Yeah, that's right. At the Roosters.
Just like Lockyer. He'll do a Lockyer.
Yeah. The Roosters will buy them.
We don't need to because we've got Kyle Flanagan and then we're going to get Sam Walker.
No, but you need some players in your reserve grade. So
hey, forward planning.
Where they end up.
It's called forward planning.
All right,
have you got any? Where's your depth?
Don't you worry, it's coming. Mate.
Yes, your head's always underwater. Sunday, Sea Eagles and the Bulldogs. Sea Eagles comfortable winners, 32-6. I am glad the Bulldogs scored, but they were never. Never in the game.
I mean, the Dogs, they've got heart, but seriously, they have no idea when they get into the red zone. They've got no idea. You know, what's his name? Lachlan Lewis. He puts up this elegant, he's got miles of time. You know, he puts up this elegant kick that does absolutely nothing, and there's no attack. There's no follow through. It's, do you know.
There's not a lot of urgency.
No.
Like they've got urgency in defence, but when it comes to attack, there's no one doing anything. No. I actually thought Lachlan Lewis had. Yeah, I've decided I don't like him. He.
You don't like Lachlan Lewis?
No. You mentioned it last year when a couple of times. You said, Lachlan Lewis, he lies on players for so long it's not funny and gets away with it. He was doing the same thing again. I'm going, mate, you've made a great tackle. Get off him. Hang on, it wasn't a 6 again. Damn, why isn't it a 6 again? And then he'd make another tackle and you'd be going, what a great tackle. Get off him. So, yeah, you're right. But I thought his kicking game was great. I thought... he just didn't have... There was just no one following it.
Yeah.
And until that young Jake Averillo, or whatever his name is, came in. Mate, he's quick.
Yeah.
But he was quick.
So Manly?
Yeah. Oh, that was slick.
Yeah, I'm not talking to you. What do you think
I
of
thought
Manly?
Manly was slick. I thought, you play who's in front of you. They took their opportunities. I thought Tom was terrific again. We'll see when they play the Eels and when they play the top sides. But I thought they took their opportunities, and I thought they were good. I mean,
they didn't have to work too hard.
The tries were spread around. Tom, Brad Parker scored a double. I thought Curtis Sirenet had a terrific game.
Yep.
If Ruben Garrick had kicked for you, you'd have 40.
I thought they were very clunky and ill-disciplined in places.
I got to say...
But there were points in that game when they went through the hands that it was just like, they're going to put a lot of points on a lot of teams if they keep doing plays like that.
I thought in the second half, the word that came up to me is I thought they were a bit arrogant. I thought, we're better than you, and we're going through the motions. Now, they were a lot better than them, but there was a bit of arrogance there. I thought, and I thought they've got to be careful about that against better sides.
With all due respect, the Roosters are the most arrogant team in the comp, and they've won the last.
That's what you think.
No,
that's true. They are,
but everyone says that.
Yeah.
But also that's a positive because you guys have won the last 2 premierships. So, Manly are nowhere near the Roosters, maybe they need to be.
There was just a small thing, I have a great respect for Manly, so I think they're terrific. But I just thought in the second half, at the beginning of that second half, they just weren't quite showing the respect for the opposition that they needed to. And if they played a better team, they could have come undone. Yeah,
maybe it was just Des saying, we've got a game plan to throw the ball around, throw it around.
Maybe.
I mean, and realistically, they bombed 3 or 4 tries. So... that score could have been anything.
Yeah. Sure.
All right. Tom, would you like to do the ladder?
I shall. Been a lot of movement this week because, of course, last week we had 2 teams on.
Just do the ladder.
No points.
Just do it. Stupid Parramatta Eels.
Who are actually in first place.
Correct.
So we have 4 teams actually, no, we don't.
2.
2 teams undefeated. The Eels and the Raiders. Closely followed by the Knights, the Panthers, the Cowboys, the Sea Eagles, the West Tigers, and bringing up the bottom, uncharacteristically, the Storm in 8th position. Outside the 8 is the Broncos and 9, the Roosters, the Rabbitohs, the Warriors, and on no points are the Sharks, the Dragons, the Bulldogs, and the Titans.
Okay.
Very different from last year's 8.
Very different from last year's 8. So let's move on to round 4. So we're all hoping that this week's games are going to be just as exciting, as much fun as last week's games. Starts on Thursday night with the Broncos playing the Roosters at Suncorp.
Yes.
What a surprise!
Well, no crowd will be a plus for us, because the crowd's worth a few points at Suncorp Stadium, I think.
Yeah.
Based on the way both teams played, I'd have to be confident that we're going to win this game. Now, I honestly, I think if they click like they did last week, the Roosters should win this game. The Broncos are going to have to improve a lot.
Oh, yeah. Do you think Brian? Do you think the Roosters are going to go up there a bit cocky though?
Cock-a-doodle-doo. Absolutely. Nah, I think they'll go up there like the well-disciplined teams they are, and I think that they will win comfortably.
Thank you, Brian. Thank you for according my team an appropriate amount of respect.
And Tom, are you going to have your cardboard cutout up there?
I haven't done it.
That's so dumb. Can I just say that is dumb?
I'm actually thinking about
it.
But no, I'm probably not going to.
Would you do it?
No, I thought about it.
I love the idea. I think it's so good. Why?
Wow. No, I thought it was... ooh. Don't mean to offend anyone out there.
It may have done it.
Wow. No,
I think it's such a clever idea.
I think what a great marketing ploy.
Oh,
$22 to have a piece of cardboard, mate.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, look, I think it just shows smart thinking, and a lot of other codes are thinking to do the same thing. I mean, we're not going to have sex dolls like they did in what was a career or something like that.
Yeah, but you heard the hullabaloo about.
Yes, good on your Foxtel.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Yes. Anyway, Roosters.
And they only apologise because they have to.
Yeah.
They made a big joke about all of that. So,
Okay.
no.
Roosters, Tom.
Yes, Roosters.
Okay, I'm probably going Roosters as well.
Wow. No second team.
That's interesting.
No,
Yeah.
not my second team.
Third team.
Hey.
Melbourne.
Okay.
I'm a realist.
Then you wouldn't barrack for the Rabbitohs. Sorry.
I'm going to leave that alone. Friday night, Panthers and the Warriors at Campbelltown Sports Stadium.
So will Cleary be back?
No.
Two matches.
Two matches,
Yep.
right.
I think the Panthers will wallop them.
I don't think they'll wallop them.
I don't think
they're
they're
going to
win.
win.
I think because they're playing at Campbelltown, aren't they?
Yep.
Yeah. Look, I think it'll be close, but I think the Panthers will win.
Yeah, I don't think the Warriors showed me enough last week to think that they can beat someone like the Panthers.
I've got a question though. What's close now? I said like
A few points.
14-all was close.
see that so the Parramatta Brisbane game, 32-6. Scoreline was a blowout.
But that's what I was
But
saying.
Brisbane weren't that bad.
No, that's what I was saying in the beginning. There seems to be every game this weekend, bar the draw, was a blowout.
So what do we say? Is what is now 12, 14 points not a blowout?
I don't know. Let's just see what happens because I
It's
can't
a comfortable
see how it
win.
would be.
So you'd have a blowout,
Yeah.
comfortable win, close one.
I don't know. I don't know how to answer that one. Friday
Or
night.
get hammered like the
Anyway,
Rabbitohs.
I'm going Panthers. Like I said, by a bit. I think
Panthers.
they'll comfortably do the Warriors.
Okay, Friday night, Storm versus Rabbitohs at Amy.
Beware, don't poke the storm.
Sally, be gentle, and please don't pack the Rabbit. No, hang on.
Dear.
Do I want her to back the Rabbitohs or not?
Well, I'll be back in the Storm. What will you be doing, Tom?
Yeah, I think the Storm are going to bounce back in a major way. And if they don't, they are gone. Seriously.
Oh, God.
If they do not put a score on the Rabbitohs this week,
Excuse me,
they
they're
are
playing
gone.
one of the contenders for the premiership. They're not
No,
gonna
they're
score
not.
on-
The Roosters, the Rabbitohs are not contenders.
No way.
I'm going the Bunnies. I think it'll be close.
I'm a realist.
And I'm a realist. Oh, God. I knew, as soon as I saw the draw, I thought, Roosters week 1, Storm week 2, it can only get better from there. I mean, honestly, it can only get better.
I mean, we both got tough rounds. All got tough rounds this week.
No, you haven't played the Storm yet. Saturday, Parramatta and Manly at Bank West.
I think this will be a cracker, this one. This will sort out what the Eels are really like, I think.
I think this could be a grand final preview.
Oh.
Oh, come on, I'd love it. I'd love Manly.
Neither team is going to make the grand final.
Here we go again, Manly and Para. Oh,
No,
you love
neither
that.
team. No, I'd love Roosters and Souths.
Wow.
Just a hammering waiting to happen.
Oh, no,
No,
seriously.
never
You
know.
guys can't beat them, so
No,
why
you
go
never
there?
know. We've beaten them enough.
All right,
Really?
I'm going Manly.
Of course,
Yeah, go on. Just be a little bit hateful. I don't mind.
Now, I'm going to go Manly too. Yeah.
yes, that is very hateful of you.
Wow, I'm surprised. Why?
I like what I
It's
saw.
just being bitter to you.
I like what I saw from the Seagulls, and they weren't playing at their best. I thought the Eels were good, but I didn't think the Broncos were as good as you say they are.
I'm actually going to go Parramatta.
No, I'm not surprised there. The realist.
Exactly.
The
I'm
eelist.
The eelist.
I'm going to go Parramatta. On Saturday afternoon, we also then have the Cowboys and the Sharks at
Cowboys,
Queensland Country Bank Stadium.
I don't think the Cowboys are that great, but I think what they showed that I think they're more consistent across 80 minutes than the Sharks.
Yep. Yeah. I think everything that's happened externally with the Sharks is probably affecting them. So I'm on the Cowboys.
Yeah, I'm going Cowboys as well. We have only two games on Saturday and then 2 on Sunday. So we have the Knights and the Raiders at Campbelltown.
Raiders.
Yep. Don't want to tip the Raiders, but I'll be tipping them.
Yeah, I can't see the Knights beating the Raiders at this stage. And we have the Titans and the Tigers at Suncorp.
Not picking the
Can't
Titans.
tip the Titans, honestly.
Give me a margin.
No, I don't want to do that to the Titans.
Yeah. 30.
All right.
30.
Okay, so then let's talk about the last one. Now, the challenge might be who's going to lose as opposed to who can win. So, Bulldogs and the Saints at Bank West.
This is the Bulldogs' best chance of the season, I think, other than playing the Titans, of winning a game, I think. If he drops players, the Bulldogs will win this one, even though neither of them can score points.
Well, I can tell you this right now. McGregor won't drop anyone because he's already come out and said, how do you drop someone when there's no reserve grade? So he's not dropping anyone. So it's going to be the same Dragons team. And I think the Bulldogs will win by a bit. I think they'll win by 2 tries, at least.
No.
Yeah, I'm going the Dogs, but not that confidently. But I think they'll win.
No, I think the Saints will turn around.
Oh.
I mean, they did score 5 tries against Penrith before the break, didn't they?
Well, look, I'd love for the Dragons to win. Don't get me wrong. I don't want Bulldogs. Nearly as bad as the Eels and the Storm. But I don't want to. I just don't think the Dragons can.
Such
Prove
a
me
hateful
wrong.
person.
No, that's not hate.
All right, we're going to have to draw this to a close. We've gone over time.
Ooh.
Brian, you got anything intelligent you want to end with before we go?
I really hate that phrase.
Because you have nothing intelligent?
It's good to see the players giving the ref a bit of respect again.
Yeah, I like that. Tom, anything you want to add?
Love the round. Hope that the same energy and the fatigue factor stays in the game. And it'll be interesting to see how teams adapt to it.
Okay. So how about you go onto our Facebook page, NRL from the Sidelines, and make a comment on anything you see on the show tonight, or about anything. We're trying to get a conversation going on the Facebook page. So if there's anything you want to mention, go on and do it.
Yeah, feel free.
Feel free. Thanks for watching tonight. Enjoy the week. I hope you enjoy round 4, and we'll do it all again next week. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.
See ya.